Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to today's video. It is Saturday morning here on the 7th of December. This video it is for YouTube, the weekly coverage of the markets. We always try to take a look at the current market conditions on the core markets from the S&P, the Dow, and Nasdaq, Bitcoin, a little bit of gold and maybe some oil. We'll see. But I always like to start with the quarterly chart of the S&P 500, where I show pretty much the direction that I think the market is in at the moment, and that's this larger wave three that continues to be ongoing, and week after week we continue to make new ground. I've been talking about this for months on end now. So this is the quarterly chart, and this kind of keeps me grounded and invested in the stock market. You can take a look at the weekly time frames as well. The location of the second wave, you could say that it could be maybe back here, and then you can have another one too. That's fine. I go through this mostly daily counts on the daily videos that I do, but this is the one that just basically shows me where we are, and I kind of need to stay with that approach to continue to remain invested, and we are about 100%. Sometimes I go a bit on leverage, sometimes I pull back, but depending on kind of how fast the market is moving, but we try to stay on the positive side. This is just the Elliott wave kind of structure that I'm following. So I think there's, a bit more to go in here. So we take a look at the technical page as always. I look at the S&P. Well, what do I see? I see the main moving averages. I repeat this pretty much every week, right? We have the 10-week that's just closely following the price. Below you have your 40-week moving average, that's the 200, right? And then much lower you got your 200. I always like to look at the weekly volume and see how it behaves. Last week was a little bit less, but this week there was a lot more interest in the market. I also watched the RSI, which is standing pretty above the 50 line, which is kind of the dividing line between being in an uptrend and starting to be on a retreat or in some sort of a downtrend. But when you have powerful moves, it usually, especially on the weekly time frames, it tends to stay above that 50. So things are not very, very complicated. I think in markets are not as complicated as some might have you think, or with a lot of indicators and a lot of wave counts and assumptions, and then we look at breadth and cycles, and I do that at times, and I kind of try to dissect a bit better, but overall, generally, things are pretty simple. If the markets are moving up, then we should let them move up and just kind of go with them, follow that trend. And I'm sure that there are some issues, right? I'm sure that there are breadth indicators that are telling you, well, not a lot of these are participating. Maybe the bulls versus bears indicator is a bit frothy. Maybe in the option, there are too many people excited, and there's a possibility of a pullback. Sure, there always is. Sometimes elevated, more elevated than other times, but the main thing that I watch personally, it's the price. And the price here, it has some false starts, and it pulls back a little bit, but not much. It continues to find buyers, right? So they're telling me there's an interest, for this market to be bought, and it continues to act like that, right? It doesn't act like with a lot of upside tails where you see a lot of selling, right? It acts like every time it dips into these moving averages, it finds buyers. So I'm trying to stay with that. Excuse me. So this continues to look pretty good. This is the third week. We're making new all-time highs in here. At a slow pace. Is the end of the year. I don't know. Maybe we'll start to accelerate and get some larger moves. Maybe we'll pull back a touch. But I will be watching. I will be watching daily, and then make decisions on that. From a weekly perspective, I mean, look at the Nasdaq Composite, right? Just making a new all-time high on high volume. RSI looks good. How can one short this, right? It's dangerous to short this without any indicator of the market pulling back, without any a place to put a proper stop for any short positions. Yeah, you can always hedge and just, hey, be protected by some puts for positions that you have, especially if they're cheap, just in case. But for that, you gotta otherwise, you're just kind of throwing money. You gotta have a bit of confirmation, at least from price, that is trying to get weaker or to pull back, and that really, it's not happening yet. So good break, and this was, yes, a lot of these kind of larger mega caps are the ones that have been kind of punching higher, and that's good. But there is strength in a lot of areas of the market. I show the stocks that I buy in my videos. I talk about that again daily. But you got to have exposure and be a bit diversified. Not a lot, but you know, it's there's stuff to buy and stuff to hold also in the market. So that's Nasdaq. Dow Jones a bit slower this week. I mean, it was down about 60 basis points, but really, it's not doing anything wrong. And I was talking on the video yesterday, how maybe it's not as important to know exactly what the market will be doing in the future, but to kind of judge it in the present and see if it's doing anything wrong. And if it's not doing anything wrong, leave it alone, right? We don't want to force ourselves onto it in any way and just kind of say, hey, has it broken a key moving average? Has it broken below a key level? Do you see, uh, any type of, let's say, buying in the morning, selling in the afternoon for multiple days on end? Things of that nature, right? That tells you, hey, market looks tired. There's sellers, right? There's really not a lot that it's going wrong, and at least from the price perspective, right? I mean, sure, like I said before, there could be currents underneath the market that might tell you, hey, this market is weaker, but uh, you know, those again, sometimes they just don't pan out, right? As the price is stronger and it continues, market rotates into different sectors and it continues to push. So Dow Jones here, it's fine. IWM, it's a one that's a bit iffy, but hey, like I said, it's moving up. It's been moving up. It's doing, it's obviously lagging the Nasdaq. It's been lagging it for a long time, right? That ratio, it doesn't look great, but I'm positioned in small caps, and I'll continue to favor them as long as they're making higher highs, higher lows, following the averages, the counts that I follow daily. Again, they look pretty straightforward, right? We're thinking, we're beginning a larger third wave, and it's just the initial phases of it. So we're watching them. You look at the RSI, also just between 50 and 70, just kind of, lingering there, doing its thing. So, I'm in favor of the small caps in here, the way they look. Now you have Bitcoin, and this is a longer term chart, about 10 years, but it broke that $70,000 level. We got long right before that. We got a little bit of a signal there. So now we're trading. We broke 100 with 104. Take a look at the counts here. But really, it's not doing anything wrong, right? It's just kind of consolidated here at the lows, then did a big consolidation below that 70K level, then it broke, and it's moving higher. So if I go, let's do like a 3 year. This was the breakout. I think we got long right here on this break of this high right here on this candle, and then right now it's stalling. I mean, it's clearly we're sitting at 100,000. The volume is pretty impressive. What's going on here? A lot of interest. It's normal to stall at the skill level, maybe even pull back a little bit. But you know, I'm not just going to assume, hey, this is ready to sell off back to 70,000 when there's nothing here that tells me that. The counts are the ones that, if you're familiar, if you've been in this channel for a while, we're looking for this to travel towards the top of this channel. I mean, over the next several years, and maybe move towards 250, 280,000 as it continues to kind of make ground. Sure, there's arguing, hey Chris, this is a fifth wave, because you got your one, you got your two, you got your three, you got your four, and you're probably in a fifth, and there might be a bit more upside here, but then you're going to get a big pullback. Well, we don't know that. We don't know. First of all, we don't know that that's a fifth wave. Then you don't know that you're going to get a big pullback, right? So all of these are unknowns; they're just guesses. Or hopes for whoever is short or wants to short it, right? They're just there's no reality in that. The only reality is that price is trading at 99,650, and it's moving from the lower left to the upper right. That's a reality. Um, so this could be an extended fifth wave, or this could be another one too. You get a small pullback in here, and then you continue to go again. So I'm not going to make any assumptions here. What I do know is that the direction in this third wave, in this larger degree, is higher. And shorter term, yes, you can have some pullbacks if you trade very short term. Like look at the daily here. You got. I don't know if this is exactly. I guess it's the best I could come up with on the 1 2 1 2 in here for this bigger explosion. So sure, you can get a 3, maybe almost over or soon, then a sideways in 4 with a 90k support, and then another higher to 115. That could be this kind of wave 3, magenta, I would call it, or something, and then another 4 and another 5, and by the time you're probably up at 150. So, I don't see any signs here of, a big collapse in Bitcoin in here, or any sort of move back towards, let's say, 70,000. Yeah, it is a level that, hasn't been, let's say, properly retested. If I go back to this page, right, if I go back to like the 10-year chart, could you say, let's go like 5, right? Could you say, well, don't you think that this should have this first and then go again? I mean, sure, in like in an extreme kind of a situation, if it happens very quickly, I don't know, but uh, I guess I would not be surprised if it would happen, right? I mean, but I guess there would be a lot of bids there, and then the market will reverse. But I won't short it just because I think that that's supposed to happen, because nothing is supposed to happen. The market does what it does, and the only control you have is over your own stops and how much you're willing to let it go. So that's a personal preference on, if you want to keep it, let's say, below certain fib zones, like, you can do a very simple, what is my fib? You can do a very simple retracement, let's say, from here to the high, and say, where is it here? Right, and say, well, if it comes below, I don't know, 38%, I'm out, right? If it comes below 61%, which is a big level, without making any other highs, you know, I'm out, right? Because that means the market is could be in trouble. So there's ways to do that. There's ways to, look at the key moving average and say I'm not going to let it drop below 20, or if it drops below 20, I'm only going to sell a quarter of my position, uh, and so on and so forth, right? So there's ways to protect, your gains, or make sure you get out when things get wrong. But in my view, I'm holding in here, and I think that there's further upside. Obviously with the pullbacks that are normal in the market. So that's the direction in Bitcoin in here. You know, as it moves along, this could be an extended fifth wave, right? You could have. Let me just draw it really quickly, right? So by the time when this is finished, let's say that's a wave 1, maybe pushes a little bit higher, then you do a wave 2, then you do a 3, a 4, and a 5, and you move over, right? What if this is a 1 2 1 2, and it does that? I mean, look at the stock market, right? You're thinking, you could be thinking that, hey, it's a fifth wave, and then but they are for very short time. So I doubt we're in a situation where something like this it's in the cards at the moment. So that's kind of my take on Bitcoin. Let's see what else we got here. We got Ethereum has been coming back a little bit. I don't have it on here, but also a lot of the altcoins. that kind of excitement that we have now with the crypto a little bit, right? So some of that fraud can cool off, but I think there's more upside there also. The dollar just kind of has been strong for weeks on end, and then finally started to come down. I mean, we're in a big range. I don't think there's any danger from the dollar here at the moment. Gold, it's just kind of consolidating in here. It could be. I still think that this formation here, this year, it's a bit bullish, but I would have liked it already to push. So if next week is not going, there could be a bit more pullback, I guess. But if you break below these levels, then you got your, what is this, your 40-week. So that's a 200-day. That's when we get interest, but it's still an uptrend. I think it's fine. It's just got to be patient there. I don't think there's a signal to buy it right here. And then New York Stock Composite, right? That's just the same like the other markets, pretty much in a decent uptrend. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I look at, and on a longer time frame from a daily perspective, I invite you to come check out our videos every day. You can find me on Twitter also. I try to put things there every once in a while. I'm not that active as I would like to be, but I do watch. Comments on there, and other accounts, and kind of see what people are thinking. But my main thoughts about the markets are in this daily trip, day by day, right? I go and I make anywhere between a 5 to maybe sometimes 15-minute video about the daily price section, where we dissect counts and structures and stocks and whatnot. So thanks for watching. I will see you next week. Bye bye.